Okay, so the first Human+AI, we're looking at Anthropic just shipped Opus 4.7. Now, I've been complaining about 4.6 for a while because for about a week and a half it felt like it was kind of retarded. And you just started using it recently. You couldn't tell if it was retarded. It actually built you a website, got it posted pretty easily. It wasn't so bad. So the most exciting part probably isn't more around 4.7, but is likely what we see with this kind of Mythos preview. So the question was, is it a real leap or just a dot release? It feels like just a dot release. Like, it doesn't feel that much better. Opus 4.6, the way it was like 2 weeks ago, felt like it's at least as good as 4.7. Although we haven't been really doing any like big refactoring of, we've just been building websites with it basically. So it seems smart enough. The SWE Bench Pro from 53 to 64.3% from Opus 4.6. That's the biggest headline in the changes. The Sweet Bench Verified from 80 to 87.6. Reasoning with no tools from 40 to 46.9. And visual reasoning. This is probably the other biggest jump we noticed, was the visual reasoning going from 69 to 82%. I've been playing around with the new Claude design recently. It's how we did our pitch decks and our onboarding flow. It's way better than it was before. Some of Opus's design stuff before was garbage.
It looks slick, yeah, way slicker.
Yeah,
for sure.
Before it was we'd have to always go over to Gemini to do almost anything visual because it was just so bad. So that's probably the biggest change. The numbers that again matter here, that Sweet Bench Verified at 87.6%, graduate level reasoning at 94.2%. This is probably hard for most people to understand, but if you look at the bell curve of intelligence, you have most of it lying somewhere between like 90 and 100 in the IQ range. And if you're up at 120, you're in like a very thin percentile of the humans, or the human population of like intelligence. So to be up at 94% is where you're starting to get into that deeper bell curve, and which is a pretty big deal. I think we're seeing it get closer to solve like mathematics problems, etc. as well. We'd seen a few of those things come out. And actually the pitch deck that we're using right now, all of this, the background, the side screens, this screen, this is actually all done by Claude Design as well.
Is it a 94.2% increase, or what is it?
No, that's so the GPQA Diamond is like it taking a test, similar to like what you would take at school. So graduate level reasoning, it gets a 94.2% on answering the questions.
Right, like accuracy rate.
Yeah, correct. Yeah, and then 64.4% on finance agents. So this is Agentic financial analysis. The best in class, it beats GPT 4.5 Pro, which is at a 61.5%, and the Gemini 3.1 Pro at 59%. We got no report from Mythos though. So here it is in the field versus the others. You've got Sweet Bench Pro, Sweet Bench Verified. Again, over Opus 4.6, you see almost a 10% jump in Sweet Bench Pro, and the Terminal Bench just a few percent. Nothing super notable here. Again, I think it was the visual quality that really demanded the biggest change. But the things that are the most exciting and what we're all waiting for is this Mythos preview. The fact that they have something hitting 10% higher on Sweet Bench Pro and the Sweet Bench Verified at 93.9%. So just in rough estimate, it was maybe about 2 years ago we started kind of vibe coding, playing around with these tools, and it wasn't good enough to do advanced software engineering and development. But when you see Mythos here at 93.9% for the Sweet Bench Verified, that means it's pretty much as good as all senior tech developers. So the entire development team is going to be replaced here pretty damn soon. GPQ Diamond, again, not a huge change here. The reasoning, not a big jump. Humanities Last Exam, 10%, which is a big one. So Humanities Last Exam is where we have all these questions in like physics, maths, biological questions where we don't always know the answer to them. So there's been some cool conversation around how it's helped mathematicians find answers to questions that they didn't have the answer to previously, because it had found new ways of looking at the kind of the same question. And then the other big one here, the big jump is in the terminal bench 2.0, and this is terminal coding. Here, from 69% at Opus 4.7 to 82% in the Mythos preview. The big thing here was that they were blocking Mythos due to the idea that it was so good at this kind of terminal bench, it was causing cybersecurity risks. So they only rolled it out to like the biggest companies so they could try to help patch a lot of their security risks.
Do you know if there's any news on when it will be released to the public?
No, nothing. It doesn't even feel like they gave us anything from Mythos in 4.7. Like it feels like a refactoring of a model that they had already had, or maybe a retrain of that of Opus 4.6. Again, some of it's a little bit out of my wheelhouse, but it doesn't feel like a substantially new model. So whatever Mythos is we don't have access to it. So the biggest wins here, again, the agentic coding across the board. It's clearly the leader again. The financial analysis is actually a really fun one too, because we see a lot of people using it for, you even use it for what kind of financial planning, asking questions around investments, etc. The scaled tool use is a big one, especially as we start to get into agentic flows and building. We're currently building RapidClaw, which is an AI management company to help small to medium enterprises host agentic workflows. And this scaled tool use through MCP is a big deal, I think. It allows us to connect so many different products inside the regular tech stack of a kind of an entrepreneur. And again, the visual jump, that was huge. It's like impossible to explain how bad it was 2 weeks ago. The fact that it's done this whole pitch deck for us is really nice, because we don't have to waste time doing it. We just have to get it to do it, press record. I mean, imagine if we had to do 2 hours to do this, we'd never make the video in the first place.
No, it's really impressive.
The big losses here, it's actually trailing GPT 5.4 Pro in agentic search, so its browsing capabilities. Terminal coding is still actually being beat out by GPT 5.4 well, but that's a self-reported 75.1%. It also massively fails in comparison to Gemini Pro on multilingual question and answers. And again, this Mythos gap, this is where it's most exciting, is where the hell is this huge leap in product development? That's where the real fun, I think, comes in, is when we can see what the Mythos is capable of. They're putting guardrails on it though already. When I was playing it around with this week, it was like, oh yeah, I'm not able to do that thing because it's considered a security risk. So we can see that they're putting in guardrails so that you can't just ask it to go out and like hack other people, which I think is their big concern with Mythos, is that it's able to go in and find bugs that can steal money, basically. So again, here's the gap that they're teasing. In orange, we have the current 4.7 Sweetbench Pro, and then Mythos way out here at 77. So not huge gaps in Sweetbench Verified, but still 93%. That's 6.3 points above what 4.7 is, 12 points above the Terminal Bench 2.0. Humanity's Last Exam, another 10 points, and the Cyber Gym, which is basically cybersecurity. How well is it able to reproduce and attack cyber? I don't know what you call it, vulnerabilities, that's the right word. So Mythos here is clearly the one that everybody's most excited about, but we're trailing so far behind here on Sweetbench to Mythos. I don't think this has anything to, 4.7 was already in the works to be released before Mythos came out. So Anthropic shipped Mythos preview numbers in the same table as 4.7, which is a rare tell for them. They haven't done that before with any of the other models. So it's showing that this is coming soon. I don't think we're gonna have to wait too much longer. They're probably just putting guardrails and again, making sure that anybody, any of these big companies that don't have vulnerabilities in like AWS. Actually, Steve Besant, he's the Treasury Secretary of the United States, and he came out and said banks are probably the most at risk. So it bodes really well for cryptocurrency, Bitcoin specifically, because those are not at risk. It's basically impossible, even for quantum computing, to actually attack Bitcoin. It could maybe attack individual wallets. That's something that has yet to be seen, but it can attack the blockchain itself. So some big gaps here we're waiting to see, but they are positioning themselves as the frontier model, and they've posted that Mythos data, I think, for a reason. So seeing that Mythos data is really important. And then the verdict. Is it a leap change or just a dot change? This just feels like a dot change. There's not a huge move here. Mythos is what turns the whole roadmap interesting, where some of the stuff we're building with RapidClaw might not need a senior developer anymore, where we can ask it to do some really ridiculously difficult things that it can't do now. So this is just, this is Human+AI.
Cool.
Yeah. Subscribe.
Question.
Yeah.
What's currently being done by Human for RapidClaw that AI can't quite do yet, that you're hoping maybe Mythos could replace?
Well, so me and my little brother have been building this, and for a lot of the security stuff, how we build Docker containers and how we provision API keys, you generally want a human in the loop for that, maybe anyways, because it's involving credit cards and stuff like this. So I think there's a real question around how much human in the loop does a company need. But for some of the more advanced stuff that we're looking at, which is delivering virtual machines directly through the dashboard, that still has a good chunk of that, maybe 20% of it has to be done by my little brother, because he's a senior tech developer. Whereas if we get that extra 10%, that's a huge chunk that can be taken off his plate and basically put onto mine, because I can just ask in natural language the AI to build its own thing. So, yeah.
Cool.
High five.